The appropriateness of fairy tales. Do you let your children read fairy tales? It may depend from person to person, but I would like to present my thoughts on fairy tales based on Snow White, Rapunzel, and Rumpelstiltskin. After hearing what I have to say, you may think twice about the alleged innocence and life lessons presented in fairy tales. From the stereotypes of Snow White to the gullibility of Rapunzel and the coercion of Rumpelstiltskin, fairy tales portray women as inferior to men. The tangibility of the stereotypes regarding females is blatantly apparent in this fairy tale of Snow White. The two main women in the tale are either credulous and helpless or cruel and arrogant. When Snow White is presented with a deadly comb, she liked it so much that she let herself be deceived. Snow White is characterized as being beautiful yet dumb. The Queen Mother is characterized with an attractive exterior that covers a heart as black as evil, and that houses the mind of a black widow spider. The story follows the attempts of the Queen Mother to murder Snow White. Now, I ask you, what do our children learn from a fairy tale like this? They learn that as long as you are pretty innocent, some kind-hearted person will be around to rescue you. No, I would like to point out some of the dark elements of the story. There's attempted cannibalism, infanticide, 3 assassination attempts, all-consuming hate, witchcraft, and child brides. It places all the women in a very poor light. While some would attempt to say that the victory of good over evil makes this a positive story, the negative, dark themes and elements that exhibit the females as weak or sadistic are not things that fairly or accurately portray women. The negative representations of women continues in the fairy tale of Rapunzel. Its main character is helpless and weak until she marries a prince. When Rapunzel says, "I will go with you gladly, but I do not know how," this shows her utter dependence on her husband. This would give the message that women are helpless and feeble outside of marriage. Critics may postulate that this fairy tale's positive themes of sacrificial love and steadfast fidelity are worth noting. They are, but also noticeable is the message that women must marry to amount to something. This is just not true. I know plenty of competent, intelligent women that are single, and to teach children otherwise is not right. The theme of the helplessness of women outside of marriage continues in Rumpelstiltskin, which also puts forth the idea that men can treat women however they want. In this fairy tale, the miller's daughter is forced to marry the man who would have killed her if she did not satisfy his lust for gold. He tells her that, "If by morning you have not spun the straw into gold, then you will have to die." No one would even attempt to defend the blatant injustice that occurs here. A girl is forced to marry a whimsical man who cares more for gold than for her. What does this teach children? It teaches them that women are worthless compared to gold, and that men should choose a wife in accordance with the riches she bestows on him. This is utterly errant, because nothing is more precious than a human life, and to even categorize the value of a life specifically based on gender is wrong. When gender stereotypes like this are accepted, misogyny runs rampant, and humankind loses some of its greatest pillars. These fairy tales show untrue representations of females. Snow White is brainless, Rapunzel is completely dependent on a prince for rescue, and the girl in Rumpelstiltskin is compelled to marry the man who would have executed her if she had not fulfilled his caprice. In all of these, the women are shown as being reliant on men for their every need, and unable to exhibit original thought or sense. Although fairy tales seem to be harmless stories of damsels in dire straits being conveniently rescued by passing princes, close examination reveals gender stereotypes in which men are placed higher in society and given more regard rather than women.